Good morning and welcome into the Wealth Guardian Show. I am Doug Ray, and I think we've got a pretty good show lined up for you today. But before we get into it, let me just say thank you to all of our men and women serving in the armed forces. Thank you for your sacrifices. We appreciate you so much. Well, you know, when you retire, you think you're done, right? You think you'll never have to work another day in your life. And whereas that may be true, there's still work to be done when it comes to your money. In fact, there's 6 critical milestones in front of you. There are 6 critical ages with claiming your Social Security benefits, withdrawing money from your IRA, 401k, and other retirement accounts, Medicare, and required minimum distributions, also known as RMDs. And if you aren't aware of these critical milestones, if you should ignore any single one of them, you could pay a hefty price in the form of taxes, penalties, fees, all 3. And it would be all for naught. These critical milestones are riddled throughout your 50s and 60s and even into your 70s. For example, when is the optimal time for you to claim your Social Security benefits? You know, you can do that between 62 and 70. That's 8 years to think about. How and when should you start withdrawing money from your retirement accounts versus your savings? What's the most tax-efficient way to do it? The IRA, the 401k, or just out of savings? And the list goes on and on. But know this, these milestones will impact many different areas of retirement, including health care, income, taxes, and ultimately how long your money's going to last you. The good news is I'm going to make it really easy for you today. On today's show, I'm going to reveal what these 6 critical milestones are in retirement and how they impact you, plus some little known strategies to help make that most out of every dollar that you've saved. Well, you know, there are some critical ages that we have to take a look at. Here are the 6 most important, I think. Let's start at age 55. What's so important about 55? Well, at 55, that's when you're allowed to withdraw retirement savings penalty-free as long as you have separated from service with your employer. Now, important to know here, you have to have left the money in the employer's plan. You can't roll it over to an IRA because that sets up the next milestone age. Now, not everybody or not every employer will let you keep your money in the 401k once you've separated service. Many will, so you just have to check with your employer. After all, it costs them money for your money to be there. And if you're not working for them, they may not want to spend that money. All right, so what happens then at age 59 and a half? Well, at 59 and a half, that's the normal age at which you can withdraw money from your retirement accounts, including those IRAs, and without paying a penalty. Because if you take money out of an IRA before you're 59 and a half, well, not only will you pay the tax at whatever bracket you're in, but you'll pay something called an early distribution penalty of 10%. So potentially you could be, getting taxed and penalized at 25, 30, 35, 40%, again, depending upon what tax bracket you're in. Well, then the next milestone age, that turns out to be age 62. At 62, that's when you are eligible to collect Social Security benefits if you so choose to do. Now, why would you not want to take benefits at 62? Well, one reason is if you're still working, if you take your benefits, you could be subject to the earnings test, and that could basically wipe away all of your Social Security benefits. Another good reason to wait is because every single year that you wait, you're getting about a 7% increase in your benefit plus any cost of living adjustments. Okay, let's move on. Next critical age, that's age 65. So, what happens at 65? Well, that's when you become eligible for Medicare. It's also considered to be full retirement age by many private and public sector employers. So 65 is an important decision-making time because you have to think about Well, do I need to pick up a med supplement plan to help, supplement my Medicare program? And then there's a lot of different plans, and you have to study them and figure out which one is right for you and your family. All right, next critical age. That's 66 or 67. Now, depending on the year you were born, your full retirement age for Social Security benefits is either 66 or 67 or something in between. For example, I was born in 1956. So for me, my full retirement age is 66 in 2 months. It might be 66 in 4 months or 67 for you. Just depends. Okay, so the next critical age is 70. At 70, there is no reason to wait on taking Social Security benefits anymore because you don't get any more delayed credits after 70. Believe it or not, a couple years ago, I sat down with a gentleman who heard this show, and he was 75. He was still working, made a good income, but he had totally, completely forgot to turn his Social Security benefits on at 70. Well, guess what? They don't pay you retroactively. He just wasted 5 years of Social Security benefits. All right, so remember that. That's a big one. Now, the next age is 70 and a half. Well, at 70 and a half, that is when Uncle Sam says, hey, if you haven't taken money out of your IRA, by golly, we're going to make you take some money out of it because that money's been growing all these years, and we hadn't gotten one red tax dime from it. And now it's our turn. So we're going to make you take it out. How much? Well, roughly about 3.5% at age 70 and a half. And you can actually wait until April 1st of the following year before you take it. But I don't recommend my clients do that because if you do, then you're going to have to take 2 distributions in that year. Go ahead and get your RMD, your required minimum distribution, out by December 31st of the year you turn 70 and a half. Well, if you just joined us, we've been talking about some critical ages of retirement, and there's several of them. But when you retire, what's your story going to be? Will you retire on your own terms, or will you be calling the shots, or will you be struggling just to make ends meet? Hopes, dreams will only take you so far. And to retire successfully today, you got to have a plan. I'm going to make it really, really easy for you to get started right now with our customized 5-step master retirement plan. And it goes something like this. We listen. We listen carefully. We get our fingers dirty and review everything, and we understand your hopes and your dreams. We outline all your options. We reveal strategies to make your money go further. And this goes well beyond making some investment recommendations. We dive into your taxes, your Social Security, your income, retirement accounts, everything, life insurance, you name it. And you and I, work together to implement the plan. The real benefit is, now you know. There's no more questions, there's no more unknowns, and there's no more sleepless nights. So to get your customized 5-step master retirement plan, call 336-391-3409 and make an appointment and come in and see me. It's that simple. If you want to finally take control of your money and your retirement, this is your chance right now. Give us a call at 336-391-3409. All right, so let's go back and let's revisit that required minimum distribution age. That's age 70 and a half. And I'll tell you why I want to revisit that, because I've noticed in my career, I've been doing retirement planning since 1998, that people who don't have to take money out of their IRAs, when they turn 70 and a half and they're forced to take it out, they hate it. They can't stand it because obviously they got to pay tax on it. And then a lot of them don't even know what to do with the money. I mean, believe it or not, they are in great shape and don't need the extra income. They would much rather let that money just sit there and compound. I'm a member of Ed Slott's Master Elite IRA Advisory Group, and Ed says, there's a major shift if you're a boomer, and that's when you turn 70 and a half. All this time you've been taught to build, save, invest, sacrifice, and suddenly the government says at age 70 and a half, we're sick and tired of waiting on you to drop dead. We want some money. Come on, fork it over. Well, that's about right. You have to take the money out regardless. And, maybe you reinvest it, maybe you go on trips, enjoy it, whatever the case may be, but you'll have to do it nonetheless. Now, my question has always been, why 70 and a half? Why not 70 or 65 for that matter? Or 75 because we're living longer, right? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Well, again, you're going to have to make these decisions. You're going to have to make the decisions of, maybe I ought to think about converting some or all of my IRA to a Roth IRA. Now, why would you do that? A, because the growth is tax-free, and once you've had your Roth for 5 years, the gains come out tax-free, and there's no required minimum distribution on doing a Roth account. So you can let that money sit there in that Roth account. If you don't need it for income, you can let it compound and grow tax-free. And the beauty of that is, at the end of the day, one day you wake up in heaven, then that money can go to a beneficiary. It can go to your kids, your grandkids, and it can become a tax-free legacy for their retirement. How cool is that? So if you've got a question about doing Roth conversions, they are not complicated, but they're strategically better ways to do it, because the conversion process is a taxable event, and I can show you a way to minimize your taxes on the conversion. So if you're interested in that, if you want to talk to me about it, give us a call. The number is 336-391-3409. That's 336-391-3409. Well, welcome back. My name's Doug Ray, and this is the Wealth Guardians radio program. So my question is, when is the optimal time for you to claim your Social Security benefits? How and when should you start withdrawing money from your retirement accounts versus your savings? Make the wrong choice here, and it could cost you a small fortune. Worse, it could be irreversible. There's 6 critical milestones in retirement that will dramatically impact your health care, income taxes, and ultimately how long your money will last. So coming up in this segment, we're going to talk more about some of those critical milestones, and also some other case studies that I think you might find interesting that kind of revolve around these critical milestones. So let's jump into a Social Security case study real quick. These are real examples. Most people, when they come in and sit down and we talk about these things, most people really haven't dug deep into their Social Security benefit in terms of, well, when should I turn it on? Should I wait? Should I not wait? And, I think there's several critical factors in that decision. And I think the biggest one is need. If you're 62 and you're retired and you need this money to make ends meet, then get it. It's your money. Or in several situations we've had folks come in who want to retire early. And to make that goal happen, they had to turn on their Social Security at 62. And that's okay. Like I said, it's your money. But if that's not a factor, then some other things you need to consider is this. Again, like I said in the first segment, every single year you wait, you get a 7% plus a cost of living increase. And, waiting as long as you can will typically give the spouse the highest survivor benefit. So you need to think about that. But the other thing that's important to think about too is this. What we have found is it's about age 78, 79 for most couples, most people, that is your break-even point. In other words, regardless of what year you turn your benefits on, whether it's 62 or you wait till 70, somewhere around 79, 78, you'll have taken out about the same dollar amount from the Social Security system. So to make money in a delayed strategy, you're going to have to make it into your 80s. Now, how do you know when, if you're going to do that? Well, you don't. That's going to be kind of a scientific guess. But I think what you have to do is you have to sit down and assess your health. If you're 65 and you're in good health and you say, I think I can reasonably make it to my 80s, then a delayed strategy is certainly something you should consider. I mean, we know from studies done at many universities, including Duke, that the probability of a 65-year-old couple, at least one of them making it into their 90s, is almost 50%. Well, that's pretty high. Most people underestimate how long they're going to live. And I have found that to be a strange oddity. They'll come in, they'll sit down and say, I'll never make it to 90. Because when I do these plans for you, my goal is to make sure that your money lasts through age 100 without you guys losing your standard of living. I want you to maintain your standard of living. And people laugh at me. They say, I'll never make it to 100. I won't even make it to 90. My dad only made it to 72 or something like that. So, maybe your parents did die younger and maybe your grandparents died younger. And yes, family history and genes, they have something to do with it. But you got to remember this. Your parents and your grandparents, they didn't take as good care of themselves as you probably do. They probably didn't go get an annual checkup like you do. And for sure, they didn't have the same medications and treatments and facilities that we do. So the odds that you're going to live longer than you think you are, I think, are pretty good. So again, if you're 65 and you're thinking about retiring, you seriously need to think about being in retirement maybe as long as you work, maybe 30 years. I love telling the story about my wife's grandfather. He made it to 104. He was a postal inspector. And he was actually in retirement longer than he was working. And it's so funny because his pension, the government pension, that they grow those every year based on COLAs and so forth. And he was making, by the time he died, in his pension, I think it was several times what he actually made when he was on active duty. But again, in all seriousness, this ought to be a part of your think process as you retire. And when should you start thinking about this? Well, we know this for sure. The 5 years before and the 5 years after you retire are the absolute critical time frame. So if you make a mistake, regardless of what that mistake is, if it's a market mistake or if you make a mistake on when to file your Social Security or anything, it could really negatively impact your overall situation with regards to your retirement. Hey, if you just joined us, well, welcome into the Wealth Guardian Show. We've been talking about critical milestone ages that you're going to face in retirement. And when you finally do retire, the days of getting that paycheck every 2 weeks, it's over. And that can be kind of scary for most people. So instead of watching your savings and retirement accounts grow every month, they're going to start shrinking most likely for most people. And that's unsettling to say the least. So how much can you safely withdraw from your savings every year? And how do you ensure you don't exhaust all your savings and investments too soon? These aren't easy questions, folks, and that's exactly why you need to do more than just save for retirement. You need a plan to make more money in retirement, and learn how to make your money last with dependable income blueprint. Here, you're going to learn all the options, how to generate income in retirement, how to protect your savings from that roller coaster on Wall Street, and reduce your risk, and create dependable income you can count on every month all the way to age 100 and beyond. So what I want you to do is I want you to give us a call. I'm going to offer to do our 5-point master retirement plan for you, free of charge and no obligation. So call us at 336-391-3409, 336-391-3409. Get on my schedule today and let's solve this problem for you. So let's get back to some case studies and also talking about some of these milestone ages. And one thing that can revolve around is long-term care insurance. And most of you don't have long-term care insurance, but yet we know that there is a 70% chance that at least one of a couple will experience a home health care or long-term care episode in your life. And it can be expensive. Now, a lot of these long-term care policies are the old standard stuff that is expensive and gets more expensive. But in the last 12 years, we have created asset-based plans, which are really what I like to show my clients. So let me give you an example of one, especially you folks out there who have money sitting in a bank or in a CD that you know, it's there. It's kind of a safety feature. You don't really need it to live on, but at the same time, it's not earning hardly anything for you. I've got a client a few years ago who was 67. He was in the same situation. He had $300,000 that was sitting in the bank making absolutely nothing. He couldn't even buy at the end of the year a package of gumballs with the interest he'd made on that $300,000. He didn't have long-term care insurance. So basically, I suggested he put the money in what I call a combination policy. I'll tell you exactly what it is here in a minute. But a combination policy does so much. It really does heavy lifting. This thing grows like an investment account. It's safe like a CD. You can't lose money in it. You can go through life, never use it, and it'll pay a tax-free death benefit to somebody. Or if you need it for home health care or long-term care, it'll pay tax-free benefits to you. So let me tell you what happened. He put $300,000 in this account. They gave him a 12% bonus up front. That also got him a death benefit of $480,000, which he could use during life for long-term care and home health care. Now, he's 67 when he did this. Then his long-term care benefit would have been $8,300 a month for 36 months, tax-free, or he could use up to $5,000 of it for home health care, 60 months, tax-free. Now, it's a few years later. Guess what? This account, the cash in that account, that original $336,000, the $300,000 he put in, plus the bonus of 12%, has grown at an average rate of 10.2% per year. Well, that's better than the CD it was in, right? So his account value is now over $400,000. And guess what? Since the cash value grew and his death benefit grew, his death benefit went from $480,000 to $629,000. Now his long-term care benefits and home health care benefits have grown likewise. His current long-term care, he can get as much as $17,500 a month tax-free for 36 months. Now, if he doesn't need all that, he doesn't have to take it all, and he can extend it. But that would last him 36 months and $17,500 tax-free. And his home health care benefit's grown too. It's grown to $10,490 a month for 60 months. Is that not incredible? Now, guess what else? If he goes out and he wins the lottery and says, hey, I don't need this benefit anymore, I can self-fund if I need long-term care, then he can actually get his money out of here. He could walk away with $367,000 if he wanted to cash it out. And at any time, it has what's called a return of premium guarantee, meaning that if you buy this policy, you put $300 or $100 or whatever you put into it, and 6 months, a year, whatever, you say, I don't want this anymore, you are guaranteed to get back no less than the money that you put in it. And what is this called? Well, technically, it's called a modified endowment contract. Thanks to the Pension Protection Act of 2006, they gave us ways that we could take life insurance and design living benefits into them. And this is one of the neatest programs that I see out there in the marketplace. So if you're interested in talking about something like this, give us a call. The number is 336-391-3409. Again, call me, 336-391-3409.